I went from this to this, and I don't even need to have no cheat meals, nothing. Just me eating the same meals that I ate daily, the same meal plan, the same cardio plan. I didn't need to have no cheat meals, and you guys should not be having cheat meals when it comes to trying to lose fat. And yeah, maybe when you once you get into shape, then yeah, of course you can treat yourself here and there, but just because you see so much progress, you're bare like uncomfortable, diet fatigue's trying to hit you, but the cut hasn't finished yet, doesn't mean you can just, start to treat yourself. That's like me inviting someone to my house just because they bought me something for my birthday. You don't need to invite someone to your house just because, someone gave you this for your birthday. No, you don't need to do that. This analogy is directly linked to you having no cheat meals. So that's the same way as treating yourself just to reward yourself from, being consistent for 5 weeks. It makes no sense. Because the reason why you shouldn't really treat yourself is because, firstly, it's going to create more diet fatigue. Secondly, once you have that, once you treat yourself with this little biscuit or whatever you guys have, you're going to end up, it's going to put you at more risk of you falling off your meal plan. And you guys got to understand that as you get lean or leaner, the margin of error decreases, meaning you need to be precise on what you're tracking. You need to be tracking every single thing. You need to be precise on what you're tracking. Hence why it's very important, and I'd recommend you guys to be eating the same meals daily so that you can be eating at similar calories daily, and it will take less effort. And you never know, like the thing that you treat yourself with, thinking that it's 100 calories, might even end up being way more than that. You'll never know. So that's why I wouldn't recommend you guys to be having any cheat meals during any fat loss phase, because it will just put you at the risk of, falling off your plan that you've created for yourself. And when it comes to cutting, it's really important to stick to your plan, because if you don't stick to your plan, then you won't be able to sustain or stick to your getting more results. So don't have any cheat meals, because this is something that's held me back. I was one of those guys, where once I would be in a deficit for 2 weeks. And then in the third week, I would binge on the weekends. I would treat myself, and then that would lead to me, and then I would end up binging, just because I feel like I should reward myself, just because, I've done this hard work for the first 2 weeks. Or even for the first 6 weeks. It doesn't matter. You shouldn't even be treating yourself at all. At all. If you can't discipline yourself during any fat loss phase, good luck even trying to get there, because you won't get there if you binge eat or treat yourself. Like, yeah, don't get me wrong, you can still lose fat and treat yourself, but not when you're trying to get lean or even leaner. Because, like I said, as you get leaner, the margin of error decreases. So, you need to be tracking your calories very precisely. Well, I'm not saying it has to be completely accurate, but it has to be as precise as possible. And the best way to do that is to be eating the same meals daily. Same amount of oats, the same amount of rice, same amount of this and that, etc. Well, it doesn't have to be for everything, but you can, reduce the fruits and add more date syrup, just to equalize the macros. But anyways, majority of the stuff you do have to be eating it the same, with the same weight, like such as the oats, the rice, potatoes, whichever one it may be. I would recommend you guys do not have any cheat meals during a cut. Trust me, they won't do you good. You might feel good during it, but after that, you're gonna start to get that sense of guilt that you get within your mind. And then that, sense of emotion or sense of guilt will then lead to you, doing something worse. So I'd recommend you guys to avoid having cheat meals, just because, you've rewarded yourself just because you've done all of the hard work. Because if you do that, you're just chasing comfort, you know. Because you need to realize that if you're feeling bare hungry, you know, if diet fatigue is hitting you, now now if this is a refeed day, then okay, of course that's different. But I'm talking about when, like, you know, you get hella hungry, you know, you're on the last week of your cut, you just can't be asked to push it, or like or even anywhere during the cut. But you know, let's say if it's the last week of your cut, because that's where you get the most diet fatigue. Yeah, unless if you've done your refeed day and you're not planning to do a refeed day, then you don't need to you don't need to treat yourself. Because then again, like I said, that's just basically me. Because if you treat yourself, that just basically means you're just trying to chase comfort instead of, you know, the discomfort that you get from this, you know, diet fatigue, from this, like, you know, fatigue that you get in general, you know. But yeah, like I said, I know I keep repeating this 1,000 times, but I'm doing that for a reason. Because most of you guys, when you cut, you think you always try to, you know, you try to fit in your favorite foods, thinking that, you know, it's going to make you, you know, feel better afterwards. You know, it's going to help you have less diet fatigue, all of that. But you might feel good during it, but afterwards, trust me, you're gonna end up feeling guilty. So please don't treat or cheat yourself during any fat loss phase. If you want to do it, then wait after the cut and after you reverse diet properly, and then, you know, you can have your cheat meals. You can treat yourself here and there. But yeah, if you found this video helpful, then don't forget to subscribe to my channel. If not, then the fact that you've watched this video is good enough for me. If you want more information on how I got to 14 to 15% body fat, then click the 12 to 15% body fat guide link down in the description of this video. If not, then the fact that you've watched this good video is good enough for me, and I'll see you lot in the next one.